Elad, do me a favor. Give me some good advice on how to connect security tools.
I think good advice on connecting security tools would be first understanding what are they supposed to do, and then understanding the right way that they can communicate and get to that maybe an API or some mutual data normalization and get to that outcome.
Some good advice. Yabing, I want you to do the complete opposite. Give me some bad advice on connecting security tools.
Bad advice. Hire an army of people. Do the work. Feel like it's connected. Feel like it's under control.
Just get a lot of people to throw just more bodies at the problem. Is that the idea? All right. I think you can top this one, Elad. Give me some worse advice on dealing with or connecting security tools.
Get a bunch of people on one continent and get another bunch of people on another security tool on a completely different continent that is 10 hours away in terms of time zone and try and make that work.
Oh, that will lead to some pretty severe burnout pretty darn fast. All right, let's start the show.
Get ready. It's Super Cyber Friday.
Hey, everybody, welcome. It is Super Cyber Friday. Today's topic is hacking platformization. And I should say that's our topic, but it's really the debate that you've heard many times between platformization and best in breed. So we want to hear your thoughts on just that. It's an hour of critical thinking of how stitching together data, tools, and processes is actually necessary for the success of your security program. All right, my guests today, you just saw them. Yabing Wang, who's the VP, CISO, and CIO, fairly newly CISO and CIO for Justworks, and also Elad Koren, who's the VP of Product Management over at Palo Alto Networks. Huge thanks to Palo Alto Networks and Prisma Cloud for sponsoring this very episode of Super Cyber Friday. All right, lots of different ways to participate. You know these ways if you've been here before. If those are you new, please pipe up in the chat room and let us know. But chat room, number one, to participate. Now, our bad ideas, what is the worst way to connect security tools? We want your bad ideas. By the way, if your bad idea is good enough, you can win an awesome CISO series fleece jacket. If you've already gotten one, we give you a nice gift card to Amazon. Now, we also want your 10% better tips. How to improve the way applications talk to each other. Just label it 10% or bad idea. Tell us what you want. Sometimes it's difficult to tell between the 10% and the bad idea. So please do label them. Join us on video at any time. Bring me on. Ask a question for a guest. Actually, if you look on the icons on the right, there's a speech bubble with a question mark. Click on that. You can also submit a question for our Super Cyber meetup. At the end of the hour, we have a meetup. And then you can also vote for your favorite question as well. So please get your questions in. I want to see those. All right. Our schedule, good advice, bad advice, worse advice. We want your bad ideas, 10% better tips. We're going to play the public interest Department of Yes, and then questions to answer, and then the meetup as well. Let me just also mention that there is a giant link at the bottom of the screen. That is for our next Super Cyber Friday show. That'll be January 31st, 2025. Hacking third-party risk management, an hour of critical thinking about practical tips for reviewing risk. That link will be available pretty much the entire show. Go ahead and click on that at any time. Register for that event. It will not take you out of this. You'll still very much be in this, but you can also register for that. So make sure you click on that and do that. All right, let's begin this discussion. And I'm going to start with you, Elad. I want to start with the classic debate that we have heard about platformization versus best in breed. I'm just going to briefly summarize it. When I say it, I don't believe it, but let me just say what it is, just so it's out there. And that is platformization has been sold as you get this one platform of subpar programs. I don't believe this, but this is what's been sold. And they're all integrated working together, or you can buy the best products out there and then you connect them all together. And that has been a very sort of black and white way it's been distributed. And after speaking to a lot of security professionals, it is not that simple, is it, Elad?
It's actually even fundamentally wrong, I think, right?
Yes. Yes.
And I think it, like many other things, the truth is somewhere in the middle or anywhere between those, and it's kind of different for every org. I think if you look at the overarching theme of this, everyone's speaking from a position, right?
Mhm.
If you have a point product, you definitely want to push your point product. If you have a platform, you're definitely rooting for the platformization type of thing. But
Right.
actually, if you build the right platform and if you have things done properly, the platform is in a sense sort of that product that is the connecting tissue, right? And I think that is the point where you can have both. You can enjoy both sides of this coin, where if you have the right platform that can play nicely with those point products, you can have the commoditized security in the platform addressed properly, and then any point product that is top priority for any org can fit into that, assuming they can fit into that. But
Mhm.
that depends on two major things. One, if the platform is built properly to consume this information and build it into that mesh of data. And two, if the point products understand that they're part of an ecosystem. And I think that is the
Mhm.
key thing. Where is the ecosystem lives?
Good point. All right, Yabing, I'm assuming you've lived through this history of this debate. Let me just keep it open to you. How have you viewed this debate historically?
First one, I definitely agree with you. It's not a black and white. That remind me, our conversation last time is security is never black and white.
Right.
And I look at those two things to say each of them meant to solve a different problem. The best of breed is trying to say, I have an issue. I want to solve it. I may not be able to solve myself. Therefore, I'm buying a product to solve that problem, right? Platformization is more about, oh my God, I have so many tools. How can I gain efficiency to support them? That's for one. I think a second one is how can that provide um, maybe simple, smooth, and better experience for me to manage that, right? Because the tools
Hmm.
could be different looking looks and different navigation, different way to provide reports. They're all different, right? Being
Right.
consistent, standardized, give me a better user experience is like that. So because of those two different purposes, I do agree with Elad that it's really most likely a hybrid approach. Depends on each company. What is the problem? What are the tools? I think you will just adjust to that situation.
All right. Get your questions in. We do want your 10% better tips, and we are getting lots of bad ideas. So thank you very much for that. All right. Where one thing that you brought up, and I want to bring this up very early, Elad, is that the platform itself is a product, which is you actually enlightened me to this because I never viewed it that way. And there have been integration tools out there, and maybe I would like you to answer two ways. One, explain it's a product, but B, why have we struggled so much with integration historically?
I think like any like any evolution out there in the technology world, many times as you see the emerging solutions out there, and we all know that the security industry is a very large ecosystem, a lot of categories, a lot of solutions out there, startups that are being like joining the world almost on a daily basis. The 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 fact that at the beginning you had to have a team covering each and every one of them, and then you started with understanding how they need to talk to each other, because on one side you've seen certain things that really fit the other solution, and then you started creating that integration where
Hmm.
solutions just shared information. What was relevant to this one could come from another security solution or a person or like an input. But then the more you add, and it's like cloud, right? The more you add to that connecting tissue, that connecting layer, you get, without even noticing, you get to the fact that if you are in an organization that has 10, 15 security tools, you actually built that connective tissue, that platform in house. And when
Hmm.
you're building that in house, you're essentially creating that product. You're making sense. I've met organizations where the CISO came out and said, "Well, I have an AI team and an engineering team, and they actually built the way to take all the information, combine it together, and provide the insights to the security team." Well, basically, what you've built is a platform in house. Now,
Right.
if you're in the business of e-commerce or finance, why would you build that platform? You wouldn't build an XDR or a SOAR in-house, right? You'd probably buy something from a company that does that. And I think this is the essence of it. If
Mhm.
with the evolution of security tooling, the fact of the matter is there are so many things, and by the way, just because the technology has become so complex, the um, the need to connect those in a way that has the synergy between those tools is crucial to the security outcomes that you need to get. Now, there are many things that we can talk about what would be the traits of those, but this is the evolution of things, the way I see it, and I think most would agree. And we already reached that point that you need a product that would serve as that connective tissue or the platform that connects everything. Not necessarily buying all products or all solutions from that company providing that platform. Well, you can, but you can definitely, you should be able to connect those together in a way that would serve as the best outcome.
Yeah, this is actually an interesting thing that Brian Colt brought up here, and I want to throw this to you, Yabing. Consider how a product or platform may be integrated into your current stack before purchasing. This should be a strong consideration when selecting vendors, and this could speak to any kind of way you would do this.
Yeah.
What is it that you are essentially what is it that you're doing when you're doing this? Then when you're trying to understand the connectivity and like can you give me specifics of what we're measuring and saying, oh, this connects to this like this and this connects like what? How do we know this? What is it we're looking for?
So give an example to say, maybe there are some gaps and priorities we put there. You bought a static code analysis tool, let's say best of breed. And then you also realize that, oh, I also should scan my secrets. And then you realize you want to, oh, you have another tool actually scanning infrastructure, right? So now you're looking at, because they all do different things, but at the end, they are serving a purpose of exposure management or vulnerability management. So you want to look at it holistically to say, where are the vulnerabilities? What are the critical ones I should focus on? Not just one piece, but across the board. That's where, as a consumer of those tools, I'm looking for a platform, right? I'm going to evaluate a platform that may not be best in individual capabilities, but to the point of connected tissues, that if they are able to help me, quoted, integrate all those tools together, but present with me a very clean prioritization, reporting, and even automation for ticketing, that is something I'm looking for, right? So, well, let's take that example. Does those three vendors I use, do they provide platform to support others? And that's where I will look into it before I say buy another platform becomes the fourth product to do those kind of things.
Good point. All right. Lots of great feedback from everybody. Want to remind people, go ahead and click the link at the bottom of the screen to register for the next week's event. Please get your questions in. We didn't know questions. I'm surprised, but lots and lots of good tips here. Here's a good thing that Rajitha just mentioned, and I don't know how this works here. Answer this one, Elad. Assess your requirements in alignment with business goals and security posture before buying the next new shiny thing in the market. So this is just basic advice in general, but how do you do that when you're trying to look at a bunch of solutions at once, I guess is my question. Elad?
Yeah. So actually, I noticed Rajitha's 10% better advice, and I was about to mention it myself. So good thing you brought it up as well, David. I'm glad it caught your eye. I think what the underlying logic or thought behind it is, if you would not find any org out there that does not have any security tooling, probably you have more than 95% of the orgs. Many times you'll have someone coming in trying to pitch a new security product, something that, hey, do you know that this is the next problem? Do you know that? And I can mention just a few from the top of my head, but we don't want to name names at this point. But when you get that, in many cases, if you look at your existing security tooling, and by the way, that ties into Powell advice. First, understand what you actually need. So, and I think Yabing definitely is along with us on this one, because when you evaluate what your organization needs, and you're coming from the need perspective and not necessarily from what somebody's trying to sell you, or get to the point where you need to notice this new problem here, this new problem there, somebody purchased this, somebody purchased that, you're buying, but after a year you're looking at that and you're saying, well, I didn't really use that. Why did I buy that? Like, kind of buyer's remorse. And I think if you really examine what your actual needs are, and even when you look at several security tools, sometimes just putting them side by side, looking at the overlaps between them, looking at the things that are similar, kind of partial coverage, you can identify what is the core that you would need. And then remember, like in many, many cases, you can get to the 85-90% and eliminate most of your risk without taking that to the 100% level, because you will never get to the 100%. So you just
Mhm.
get to the right point. And I think that would be the crucial or the critical mass of what you really need, and not necessarily what somebody's trying to push.
All right, let's play our first game. Let's go.
Do you know what others are thinking? On the public interest.
All right, this is a pretty simple game. We get our audience to play along as well. I have not seen these. These were created by our producer, Rich Straffolino. So let's give this a whirl. Here's how it goes. Most average monthly search queries. So really the question is, which do you think people, and not just people in cybersecurity, just anybody on Google searches these terms, channel, forum, or platform? What do you think it's the most queries, Yibing?
A. I would choose
Channel?
A. Yeah.
All right. Elad, what are you going with?
I wanted to go with A, but I don't know if you want me to
You
go
can
with B
say
just
A
for the A.
too.
I want to go with A. Yeah, I think channel as well.
Okay, so both of you A. I'm going to say
How about
B, forum. I'm going B, forum. Let's see what happens. Correct answer is it is A. All right, you're both on the board
yeah.
with one each. All right, as something I point out to everybody, these are only 4 questions. It's extraordinarily difficult to go 4 for 4, but both of you are in the running. Let's go. Number 2. Data, process, or tool, what gets more monthly search queries? I allowed you go first.
Is it just a word or a part of a term?
Just
Just the
that
word.
word. So yeah, they have to. Yeah. So the question is, who's just typing the word data
Data.
into Google?
Gotcha.
Which
Yeah, I'd go for data.
data? You Bing?
Me too.
I'm going tool on this one. I'm going tool. I think people are looking
That
for a
was my
tool
second.
and they
Yeah.
just type tool. So let's see what happens. Correct answer is it is tool. All right. We're all on the board with one. All right. But your 4 for 4 possibility is long over now. Let's go. Next one. Third question. Application, automation, federation, integration. I'm going to go application. No, I take that back. I'm going automation. And I hope to God it was an application. What do you think, Elad?
I'll go for application.
All right. You got application. I got automation. You got?
Automation.
All right. 2 automations, 1 application. The correct answer is it is application. I feel like a buffoon.
Oh.
All right. All right. Elad is in the lead. 2 to you and I, we have 1. Correct answer. Oh, here's a tough one. All right.
Wow.
CSPM,
Okay.
IRP, PS, PASS, SASE, XDR, all tools. Which one are people looking up the most? Here's what I'm going SASE. Here's why: self-addressed stamped envelope as well. So that's why we're going to ask SASE. I'm saying N. What do you think, Elad?
I think K, like CSPM.
CSPM. All right. What do you think, Yabing?
I want to go to K, but I'm going to pick a different one.
All right.
XDR.
XDR.
That
Ooh,
was
no,
my
I
answer.
don't think it's XDR. I don't think it's XDR at all. We're gonna find out. It is
Wow.
pause. We all lose, but Elad wins with 2. So
Yeah.
congratulations to Elad for doing that.
Thank
All right.
you. Thank you. Do I get a fleece jacket of
No, the
No,
loser
there are other
one
ways.
get it.
You have to
The
come up
loser
with a
Oh,
one
bad
get it.
idea.
oh.
All right, here we go. Whoops. All right, good job. Did anyone in the chat room, by the way, go 4 for 4? I always ask that. Larry Rosen 2 for 4. Interested if anyone pulled off 4 for that one. I'm gonna say when there's like 4 to 5 options, it's very difficult. When we have an A and B, they're all A to B. It's tough. Brian Colt 3 to 4, pretty good on that one. All right, Elad,
Hey,
this is a
David,
question I want. Yes.
David, I have a suggestion. Next time, try Chat GPT, not Google search. Chat GPT.
No, but we have to. But the thing is, we use a
I
tool
don't,
that tells us how many
yeah, I
people
don't think,
search a
yeah,
term.
That's true.
ChatGPT provide the
We've used ChatGPT for other games, but for this game, we use this other. I don't even remember what the name of the
Oh.
tool is that we use, but we use a tool for that. But all right, Elon, I want to ask you a question. Obviously, everyone knows. Everyone here, I'm sure, knows that Palo Alto Networks is a platform player, um, and but you guys are working on new stuff in this area. Give me the lowdown. What is Palo Alto doing right now that the platform story is different that everyone should know about?
Yeah. So generally speaking, and it's no secret that Palo Alto Networks is one of the leaders in many of the security solutions that we provide. We've been working in the past few years on creating multiple platforms. You've seen some of the SASE platforms like Strata. You've seen Prisma Cloud as the CNAP, the platform for the cloud. You also have the XIM for SOC transformization and completely changing the way SOC teams working across everything. I think many of the things that we're putting as top priority for us is how can we take the mass amount of data that we get across all of our security solutions and combine them into a combine them into that mesh of data that we can then take and evolve to the future of security across the board. One of the things that we've been doing, and this is something that we've launched late in 2024, is the ability to have an agent, kind of a more of the XDR agent that also speaks to the cloud. So that was our first milestone in trying to bring together two very separate areas of the SOC and the cloud, and that, in a sense, and I think one of the things that many organizations are struggling out there is how will the SOC get everything they need for the cloud, because SOC traditionally it addresses the organization, the enterprise, and everything that comes from the endpoints. But we are seeing more and more sophisticated attacks in the cloud, and we put it as as the top priority thing for all of us. And our CEO said that on stages across the board, and our CPO also said that in a very open manner. We are striving to solve that security problem of connecting all the information from all sources to bring that outstanding security outcome for everything while creating that synergy between those solutions. So that unified agent is just the first step in that road of us making a security standard that is comprised of both the best of breed in each of them, with a MITRE evaluation
Mhm.
framework, or different analyst firms that acknowledge that, but also the best of platforms in each and every one of the areas that we're focused on. And yeah, we are also hiring, by the way.
That's always good. When have you guys not been hiring? You're always been hiring, so that's
That
awesome.
is
You're
true.
always growing.
That is
Hey,
true.
if you would like a warm handoff to the nice people over at Palo Alto to get the lowdown on what they're doing, I just made a poll visible. So if you look at the third icon down, there's a little kind of tiny bar chart. There's a poll. Click at that. Please, please go select that. We will make that happen for you. We can make that happen for you. So go ahead and click on the poll right there. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Elad, for that as well. All right. Yabing, we have no questions? This is a shock. What is wrong with these people? No questions?
Oh, we've hacked
By the way,
platformization.
Can I touch on something since,
yes, please go ahead.
Palo is so let's say as a consumer of those security products and the security platform, I have an expectation.
Mhm.
I'm not hoping the company like Palo with their platform says I can do everything. The more you say that, the more I think you cannot do anything right? What I'm looking
We've
for,
heard that, by the way. We've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
right? So what I'm looking for is because you are providing me from the upper layer perspective, a unified, a simple, and a good user experience. So I look at, I hopefully to look at, one glass of paint, painted glass, and then to say, provide me the flexibility. I may have XYZ tool. I don't need to have XYZ capability. Just give us the flexibility to integrate the tools into your platform. That is my hope. To me, that's the
By
right
the way,
platformization.
you are speaking Elad's language right here. He's nodding his head like you set him. You could not have set him up more better for this one.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Elad.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think one of the major, I think I'd put it at the top 3 or top 2 things that a platform would need are integrations of being able to ingest data from any solutions out there. Because if I told all of our customers you need to take all of the solutions from Palo Alto Networks, I'd probably have much lower number of customers than we have today. So great ingestion and a great way to extract and export the data. So we think we provide the best, one pane of glass to see everything. But maybe you want to use a tool that you already have and like. This is okay. We rely on the data lake, the AI capabilities that we add to that, and the automation that we can create on top of it, so that you can ingest everything into that and you can export to any tool that you like and use any tool in between as the best of breed that you really, really like, right? So you can bring them over. I think that is what makes a platform unique and really, really good.
So this is interesting. I mean, and I must say I kind of like what you're doing because it's bridging this old story that we've been hearing that you really only can choose one or the other, and that's not the story anymore, as you're pointing out. But one of the stories that I've heard, and I'm interested to get your take, Yabing, on this is I'm going to say I heard this first about a year and a half ago, maybe even 2 years ago, that a lot of CISOs go, I can't look at point solutions anymore just for the onboarding of it. I need to train my staff on one platform. I can't train them on a dozen or even more for that matter. Have you run into this issue before? Like just the sheer training of tools can get quite difficult if you're using so many different tools.
Yes. At the end, that I want security organization focusing on real security thing, right? Looking at the threats, looking at the detection, looking at the defense protection, not really become an IT support organization. Spending time in integration, spending time on supporting a tool. I want them supporting the content. So overall, I think that is a direction to say that if you can avoid bringing too many tools, let's do it, right? Having something that can provide overall capability, that's better. By the way, at the same time, I want to call this out. Platformization versus best breed, and everything we talk about sounded like security is solving technical issues. So I want to call that out, not really, because security is really trying to, number one, help solving business issues, but also looking at the risk, right? Not everything is to be achieved by putting technology there. There are other things we can do. And on our side, on the consumer of those tools side, there are more things than technology. But also, if I look at which vendor I go, It's not because they have platformization or because they have a best of breed. There's one important thing I'm looking for is the people, is the account team, the customer success team, their willingness to be partner with me. That's more important than what the tool can do.
I hear that all the time, and I can't stress the number of time I've heard this. And I'm assuming, given that you have so many tools on your platform, that this is something that you are trying to stress that you can partner. Yes, Elad,
Yes,
in
of
this.
course. Yes, definitely. I and
Yeah.
and I want to take what Yabing said, and I want to not only double click this. I want to say what we're doing from an organizational standpoint. Whenever I'm speaking to the field teams, the customer success, the technical folks that are supporting our customers, I always end almost every conversation with thank you for taking care of our customers. Honestly, I literally say that sentence because that is what makes the difference. I mean, technology, you can develop almost every tool, right? Invest the right number of people, invest the right effort, and you can achieve. Yeah, you'll be slightly to the right, slightly to the right, slightly to the left, but at the end of the day, being able to sit right there next to you when you need something, Yabing, you or any other customer, having the people right by your side or available in a phone call or I don't know, Slack away, that is the key. That being able to provide you with what you need, I think that is the key. Completely agree on that one.
Can I add one more thing, Elad? So not every company
Please.
can do this. If I'm a 50,000 people company or 100,000, because I used to be in big companies, right? Oh yeah, it's a lot of what do you call that, revenue for you. You pay more attention. There are a lot of small and medium-sized business, and when I switch to the middle-sized business, I see the difference. Not every company does that badly,
Hmm.
right? But it's like, oh, looks like, oh, you're a smaller company, so I don't care. I mean, at least let us feel I don't care, and that's a big key. Your people have to care all the customers, not just a bigger one give you more revenue.
I could not agree more. I think for company, and naturally, we all know you have to prioritize everything in life. Everything is a balance, and prioritization. I think the good companies out there, the good vendors out there, are those that understand how to provide that good experience for the long tail or the smaller or the SMBs, right? At the end of the day, any customer is a customer that paid the amount that they paid. And for smaller customers, even a smaller amount is a large chunk of their budget, and they expect to get a good product and good level of support. And the way we are structuring it, by the way, in Palo Alto Networks, is that naturally for the larger companies with more employees, naturally there are more interactions, so we need a bit more people to support. But for the smaller ones, we have established a way to create that level of support that still gives them what they need, while naturally, it cannot be at the scale of the 50,000, 100,000. But I get so many cases where I'm like, me specifically, or a company that spent, not in the millions, even in the hundreds of thousands. And when I speak to them, they always come back and say, we are so happy with the support that we are getting from the team supporting us, even though it's not a 10 people support team, or and that is something that if you make it a nature of the company and part of the DNA, it doesn't matter the size of the customer. It's in the
Agree.
DNA.
Yep.
Let me ask both of you this question. This comes from an anonymous user. I just put the comment up here. I'll throw it back up again. I'm wondering why, why has this never happened? Why have we never had a standardization body to enforce some kind of communications platform that, you know, not to put you out of business, that would make your offering, not necessary, Elad? Like, why has that never existed?
I think it's beyond that.
And
The offer.
I know it's far more
I know,
complicated,
and it's fine.
but
It's
I'm
fine
just
that
setting
you're.
you up.
But no, this is fine. I think it's not like a USB-C regulation or HDMI or
Right.
some kind of a protocol that you'd establish, because at the end of the day, if you keep that to integration, standards or something along those lines, um, where it is evident and it exists in many other domains, the you're losing, or you're reducing the connectivity or the platform offering to just the link between the different products. And I think it's way more than that. And this is why I think you couldn't get to, while you are getting to some level of standardization in the industry because of the big players, what you'll see is that with large companies and large enterprises supporting security with platformization, you're in a way getting to that with the market without any external force. So you have the Microsofts of the world, you have us, you have other large competitors, and many smaller players are understanding that they need to play with these environments nicely, just like you have in cloud, right? If you're building something for the cloud that does not fit into AWS, you will not end up in the AWS marketplace, right? So I think that the market is getting to that point. Naturally, if you have an external force pushing in, kind of a regulator or something like that, it'll happen faster. But we all know, I think you put a comment that I really liked as well. How many IT people does it take to standardize something?
Yeah.
Think about that, but also with a multi-billion-dollar TAM in security, really.
All right. Well, by the way, I'm going to throw, there's going to be a bad idea that kind of speaks to this too as well. All right. I just want to remind people, please click the link at the bottom of the screen to register for the event that we're going to have next week as well. And if you have not gone to the poll right now to get a nice warm handoff to the people at Palo Alto, please do that. They've got a lot of experience and knowledge in this area as well. I had one question, and by the way, if could be a very, very big answer, but I'm interested to know. Mark Aylor asked this question. A lot of the dialogue is great and relevant to IT and corporate security, but OT is a different beast. Want to know if you, speaking to all of us, would approach OT in a completely different approach, or is it still the same kind of a beast? What do you think here? I mean, how do we approach OT with this? And obviously, this could be a whole different discussion, but can you give me kind of a headline, either of you? And I don't know if Yabing, if you've even had experience with OT, have you?
Not exactly,
Operational
even though,
technology, by the way.
yeah, operational, yeah. So manufacturer,
Yeah.
healthcare have those a lot of OT. I don't know if I have a different suggestion than this. I may not have enough experience to speak to another suggestion.
All right. Let me just throw this. Elad, anything to add to this, the OT discussion?
I think we're getting more and more to the OT discussion also with security tooling, mostly because we understand that it impacts a lot on the efficiencies of organizations, and many times you'll get to the question of how can I operationalize a certain tool. So we're getting to that point, and I think there are, in today's security tooling, originally you started with what is the best security tool for the security outcome. Then you had is okay, so what's the best security tool in terms of security outcome, but also not as important, the onboarding process, because it's a very painful one for traditional security tooling. I still remember a 6-month onboarding for RSA security back when I was there like a decade ago. I think now we're getting to a point where security tooling is security outcome, ease of onboarding, but also the ease of operationalization and how the OT can benefit from the security tool. And by the way, again, one of the things that we're highlighting in many of the things that we're bringing forward is how can we make it easier for groups that are not talking to each other, like for example the SOC and the developers, right? There's this completely disconnected groups. This is part of how we are thinking about our product. So I think it also ties to that OT discussion, but maybe I completely missed it.
But that brings up a really interesting thing about the platform in general, is that the number one complaint that we hear from CISOs is your product may be wonderful, but it doesn't work in my environment, or you haven't thought enough about how it works in my environment, or someone who sells a tool doesn't realize they're just going to be the 15th or 50th in an environment. They only, they've got this tunnel vision looking at. But when you're running a platform, like you said, This is top of mind. Everything that I just described is already top of mind
Hmm.
with the vendor. They're already having these discussions, conversations. So this is one of the other advantages is that that's what they work on. That is part of the damn product. And going back to my earlier question of the platform being the product itself. Let me throw this out then to you, Elad. What is it that people don't understand about platforms that is sort of a layer deeper that they're not getting right now?
That is, I think, amazing. Um, in many ways, when you try to market your solution or market things
Mm.
out there, you talk about the security outcomes, you talk about the screens, that single pane of glass for everything. I've I haven't seen that, but I can definitely share that there are literally groups of people working on how to consume data and ingest data, how to normalize the data, how to connect all those dots together. It can be a line in a presentation that says that says something like, AI or connective tissue or data mesh or data lake, but the amount of effort that is invested in one, normalizing the data and making sure that it can be connected to each other, and the stitching together of information, the internal services that operate to make sure that when we get something on a cloud asset, we can connect it to the right asset, right? It seems like, yeah, we can connect it. We are stitching the information together. The amount of work that is invested in that, that if we didn't do that, customers would have to do that to be
Right,
able
right.
to get to that point.
And obviously we have to be repeated by the number of customers too, for that
Yes.
matter.
Yeah,
All right,
agree.
we have a game
So
to
that,
play. Hold on,
yeah, oh, go, let's
I'm
play.
jumping into the game. Hold on, we'll come back to this.
Hello, welcome to the Department of Yes, where no request is ever rejected.
All right, I got to get to these bad ideas. There's this one. I'm going to just set this up. Andrew Aiken has really outdone himself here. This idea is so bad. I'm going to make you try to answer this one first, Elad. I would love to see how you can spin this. Remember, you can't be facetious. You have to find the silver lining on this. It's pretty rough.
Okay.
Just going to set you up with that. All right. Bad idea from Andrew Aiken. Implement platformization by hosting a security potluck. I'm going to tell you, I want to attend this security potluck, where each department brings their own favorite tool, dataset, or process to the table. No one coordinates beforehand. So you end up with 3 intrusion detection systems, 2 threat intelligence feeds, 6 DLPs, no SIM, 14 AI tools which continuously block each other, and a random collection of scripts labeled do not touch. Why do you want to do this? By the way, I love the idea of the security potluck.
I want to do this. I think it's
Okay, go.
yeah, I
Why
think this.
why is this a good idea? Tell me what the benefit of this sucker is going to be.
I think the benefit of this would be for us to do kind of a showdown and eventually get to the point where we can select out of all of those that came in the winners in each category and understand the really blind spots that we have in the org for the cover for the areas that we did not cover. So I think that would be a great way of getting to one, the best of actual solutions in every category, and two, the categories that we literally need to hire people because they haven't thought about this one.
That was creative. I like it. I see this as kind of like a hackathon for tools, figure out which one survives,
Yeah.
and then the other ones are just kind of they fall away. All right, Yabing, why do you want to do this?
I talk about 2 benefits of the platformization. If I want to pick one first, this path will
No,
give
but
me.
this security potluck. Why do you want to do
I
this
know
security
that
potluck?
security
Yeah.
product, the reason I like this, at least let's focus on you will provide me a great user experience first. And then we can figure out behind it, which one we can get rid of, which is really the cost saving, and then put that money to invest more. But if you don't have that front end, you are going to chasing the tails within those kind of a mess.
Not bad. I like that. That was really good. That was very good. I'm impressed. Kudos to Andrew Aiken, by the way. And also consider at a potluck, you have to taste everything. So you're going to have to try all of these.
Yep.
So you're going to
Yeah.
have to try 6 DLPs. Why not? All right. Let's see. I am. All right. This one comes Pavel Wilsinski. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your last name right. Pavel Wilsinski. All right, bad idea on a daily basis. Run export from each product into a CSV file and publish them on an internal IIS server without any authentication and expose it to the internet. All right, Yabing, why do you want to do this? Again, good luck.
Such a good one, or such a bad one.
But good, but it's good. But there you go.
Yeah, I
This
know.
is
I know.
this is, by the way, as open as gets. I mean, you can't.
Good one. Good. I
Yeah.
have some
Okay.
answer.
Okay. Here we go.
At least you have the visibility.
Mm-hmm. And not just you. Everyone's got the visibility.
We have the visibility.
Everyone's got the visibility. All right. Why do you want to do this, Elad?
I love this. I think this would be a great way of, we are going to tell everyone that we're going to do that. This way, we say that, the light of the sun cleanses everything. They all know that it's going to be out there. And since it's going to be
That's
out there, they will operate the right security practices throughout. We're going to make it public. And then we're going to also, wait, because it's not the end, we're going to also create a competition on all the people outside in the world to try and get to our systems and see if they end up there. I think it would be a good way to create security practices in our company. Thank you.
I want you to know I actually interviewed a CEO of a major hospital in Boston who, without anybody getting validated by verified by anybody, or also talking to lawyers, he published the infection rates that they were having from central line infections at the hospital. And he said exactly what you said. He goes, because of the competitive nature and because it was made public, the infection rates went down because they knew their work was going to be seen publicly like that.
Yeah.
You're not far off, Elad. You are not far off. All right. We have more questions that have come in. Please, again, if you have not registered for the event next week, please go click on that as well. And also, if you have not answered the poll and to get a handoff to the nice people over at Palo Alto Networks, please do that right now, because they know what the heck they're talking about. All right. Let me go to some of my questions I have here. All right. I'm gonna ask you a tough question, Elad, because and you're big. I want your take on this as well, because I'm sure you've dealt with this. There is this other fear people have of vendor lock-in when you go to one platform. Like someone, I think it was Dwayne was mentioning, he goes, it's easier to kind of pick one up, drop one off, when you're going one tool at a time, if one's underperforming, because, like a portfolio of any kind of portfolio, not everything's going to always work the way you want it in your specific environment. How do you address the concern of vendor lock-in?
By the way, we get it on almost a regular basis.
This question and this concern?
Yeah. And by the way, we sometimes get it from, interestingly enough, the existing customers that have multiple products from Palo Alto Networks, because they bought something and Palo Alto Networks acquired the company that they bought. And many times they're asking us, how should we think about, the vendor lock-in? They don't want to put all their eggs in one basket. What we're saying, and essentially I practice this in my personal life as well, is that we encourage customers to seek other great solutions as well. If there is a best of breed that can provide security value in other areas, by the way, this is why we built our platform in a way that can consume the data from external solutions. We encourage them to do so, because that makes us better eventually. So we're confident in our ability to show why this is good. But in terms of vendor lock-in, we're not trying to lock in everyone. We're trying to prove our value each and every renewal at the time. And when time of renewal comes, then at the end of the day, they do renew. So apparently they understand the value. I think, yeah, Go ahead.
I want to throw to Yabing. I'm sure you've faced this problem yourself. How
Yep.
do you address it?
First, to understand why there is a question about a vendor locking. That's a fear of either that their service are bad, the product are bad, really cannot solve the problem or create more problem for me, or they become more and more and more expensive, right? So along the way, I think that again, back to the part of the partnership, that if we're able, from our perspective, one thing is like continue working with the company, right, on that note, trying to avoid those two things happen. That's number one for me. The second one is when I choose this platform, I also try to consider, let's say there are 5 companies doing this thing. And one of the criteria is for me to choose quoted a best one. Why is the best one? Is that believing this company will invest a lot in the product and in security, where I have less issues, whether it's availability issues or not. Right? That's part of the. I don't want to choose a company. It looks like they solve one problem, but they don't have enough money to enhance their stuff. And the next thing I will say is truly need to understand what is the risk. So not, for example, that not everything you have to figure out the alternative, not everything you have to have a second backup. For example, if I go to AWS, do I have to prepare everything for the second cloud? Of course, every company is struggling with that question, but consider your own organization situation, right? Understand the risk and also prepare exit strategy, right? If one thing that's truly going to happen, what you should do.
Right. Good. Very good point. All right. We've got about 8 minutes left in our program. But, oh, by the way, I want to remind people, at the end of the show, we have our fun meetup. Please stick around for our fun meetup. That link at the bottom of the screen where it says register for next week's event. If you have not done that yet, please go ahead and do that and register for next week's event. But that link will change to our meetup, which we will have on Discord. So please stick around for that as well. Actually, you know what? Let me do this. I'm going to do a kind of a. Well, let me ask you this. Actually, let me ask you this question now. Yabing, what about the discussion of platforms and best in breed, the classic debate, or what about that? Are people not getting? Like, you think the thing that, like, yeah, but you're really missing this part of this debate, this way to build your security program. I mean, really, that's what it's all about. What do you think people are missing?
They try to look for a solution one size fits all. I don't think that you need to struggle, right? It's a hybrid approach. It's a mesh approach. You just pick a right thing for your company, based on your risks, your situation. And I would say most likely you are combining both together. There's no need to struggle which one is better than another.
Okay. I'm with that. Okay. I'm going to same question to you, Elad. What do you think people are not getting about platforms? I think, for me, I'll just sort of echo what you had told me a long time ago, is that it doesn't have to be one or the other at all. You can kind of do both. What else don't you think? What do you think people aren't getting?
Not all, but I've seen that, and I think many organizations are making the mistake of looking at it just like any other marketing tool or any other. We are seeing less and less of that, but I think choosing the right approach and the right security portfolio requires, just like product management, you need to think about your needs, your requirements. You need to craft your entire list of things that you're trying to achieve, the objectives, and through that understand what is the best approach. I can tell you that in certain cases, if someone came to me, a friend, that said, this is my list of requirements, I would end up telling him, okay, so it seems like you need 3-point products and that's it. Like, go buy them and you don't need anything else, because that's essentially your requirements. But once you lay it out and you identify that fundamental thing, or then you can understand the critical mass of what would be the platform of choice that addresses that. Like, again, an example, and I'm calling it out because Microsoft is a very good example. If you're mostly in Azure and you're mostly using things that are very specific to the, and you have all Windows machines in your organization, just understand your requirements. You may end up choosing a Microsoft platform with an in Azure set of security solutions for the cloud, and you're good. But if you're spread across clouds like most organizations today, and if you have a bunch of, understand what you really need. Treat it like a product that you're trying to build or acquire, and then get to that solution that I think will end up at what Yabing was mentioning, kind of a hybrid approach of a very dominant, very, very specific platform that can play nicely with the two, three, four solutions of choice that are point products that you really care about. I think that is what people need to understand that they need to do.
All right. All right. I'm gonna wrap up the show. I'm gonna have one last question for both of you. So hold tight while we're doing the closing items here. I'll be very quick about this. I want to thank your company, and that would be Palo Alto and in Prisma Cloud, Palo Alto Networks for sponsoring this Super Cyber Friday, and also just Palo Alto being an awesome sponsor of the CISO series. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you
We
so
love
much
you
for
too.
supporting us. Hey, I'm going to do, say, 95 minutes from now, we are going to be doing Cybersecurity Headlines Week in Review. That is over on our YouTube channel, which you can find if you just go to youtube.com/CISO series, or you go to our site, CISOseries.com. There's a link there. Whatever. We're going to be doing a live show over on YouTube. And that's our Cybersecurity Headlines Week in Review. We have Sean Marion, who's the VP and CSO for Excel Energy. He will be our guest, essentially making sense of the week's cyber news, the biggest stories of the week. Stick around for our meetup. Look at that. It changed. Look how fast that is. Aaron is our line producer. He makes this all happen. Join us for our meetup. Click the link at the bottom. That will join our Discord. You can do that right now. That's going to stay up there for the rest of the show. And we'll have a meetup. That's kind of what it'll look like. In the lower left corner is where you will find your audio and video buttons to do that. And we can chat about whatever the heck you want. We can keep talking about platformization or anything else. I love to hear how everyone's week is going in cybersecurity. And let me also remind you, you want to sponsor a Super Cyber Friday? Just email me at info@cisoseries.com. In fact, I have the very last one of March available if you'd like to jump in on that as well. All right. We have exactly 3 minutes. I'll start with you, Yabing. What is a question about this topic I have not asked that people need to know? Just anything. What's a big issue that we have not addressed?
Is there a third solution outside of this?
Well, I think the third solution is the mix, is honestly the thing.
Is there
But is
fourth?
there maybe a fourth?
Is there fourth
Is there a fourth
solution?
Yeah, fourth solution. I think possibly, some standards that could make this simpler, but like what you said, Elad, it's not like a standard for a USB plug. It just isn't anymore.
Yeah.
All right, what haven't we talked about we should have addressed with the 2 minutes we now have left? Elad.
I think we covered
everything.
We covered.
But this is exactly what I said. I said we were going to solve this problem in 1 hour. We did it.
Yeah, we have.
Congratulations to both of you.
Yes,
and to
we
the
have.
chat room. Thank you very much. Let's pat ourselves all on the back here. Let's do that. We did a great job. Kudos to us. We're all winners.
I think if we can just one last remark on this, and I think
Sure, please.
we've been talking about many things here. If I had to give an advice, honest advice, right? Not from, again, I am from Palo Alto Networks, and naturally, we do have a strong strategy on everything that we think how security needs to look
Sure.
like. But I think I'm going back to something I said in a different medium that a mentor of mine told me a few months ago, and also a few years ago. If you want to create a good, strong bond between you as a vendor and your customers, you should make sure that two things happen, at least two things. One, you should have a strong strategy that your customers are buying into and they believe in the strategy that you're bringing in. And you have very strong why you're doing that. And that should fuel your strategy. And I think when customers think of the vendors, it can be security, it can be anything else. make sure that you are aligned with the strategy of the vendor that you're interacting with and you understand the why.
Great point. And let's close on just that. All right, everybody, do me a favor. Click the button at the bottom of the screen. Join us over in the Discord. We do want to chat with you. Huge thanks to Elad, Koren, Yabing, Wang. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Tell your friends to come to the next one. Thanks to our producers, Rich, Aaron, Andrew. Aaron, take